Junjie Zhang is with the East China Architectural Design and Research Institute here in Shanghai. It's a government agency. And thank you for coming to see us. This is an amazing city that you have here. Your presentation is an overview of modern super tall development in China. Tell me about one of the patterns that is kind of unique to China is that we're seeing clusters of tall buildings. Just like here, where we have 3 tall buildings together and it was planned that way. Is that, why are these buildings being grouped together? It's a very nice thing to do, but what was the thought behind that?
Because the planning of the Shanghai Lujiazhu area is a long time ago. I think the major tall building, the 3 tall building in this area, maybe a single of the CBD area. Good advantage is the single of CBD area, and I think the disadvantage is traffic jam, and that should be more clustered. The public facilities should be more convenient for the 3 tall building, not separate each other.
Because one of the things I've noticed here is that there is a lot of green space between buildings, and you get to see buildings at their full height, which doesn't happen in America because they've all come up around each other. And you walk outside of the building here and you see so much green space, so much open space between this building and the next set. Is that the Chinese way of doing things? Is that something that you're aiming for when you plan a city?
I think in the planning of recent years, you can see more and more open areas in the downtown areas, also in high-rise building areas. And usually the underground space become more and more common, combined with commercial facilities, traffic system, and in some areas, people usually in the planning raise the height of the building and lower, make use of the open areas for the people, for the public. It's the future trend.
The Council on Tall Buildings is meeting in China for the first time, and I know that as someone who watched tall buildings, that years ago news of goings-on in China was very hard to come by. We were all wondering what was going on here, and now there's a lot of news coming out of China. What does it mean to you, to China, to have the Council on Tall Buildings meeting here and exchanging information in your own town?
I think it's a right time to have an international high-rise building Congress in China, also in Shanghai. You know, Shanghai is the major city of China and developing very fast. And nowadays, most of the high-rise building constructed in Shanghai. So, Shanghai has rich experience of high-rise building, including design, planning, construction, management, operation.
What is the future going to be in Shanghai? So much has happened here. Lujiazhui was what, farmland 20 years ago. What's the future look like here? More tall buildings, or what kind of development?
I think in the last decades, people emphasize the construction of new building, new environment. In the next decades, I think people may emphasize the management, soft management and culture behavior, or take emphasis on the environment, green behavior, in these areas, and the culture, culture and environment, and also the activities, common people activities in these areas. I think it's the softer factors, not the material factors.
These buildings seem to be fitting in very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're relatively new buildings, but is Shanghai getting used to more vertical living like this?
Yeah.
Do people accept that?
Because people, we have common idea that Shanghai is a relatively small area, but a lot of activities will take part in this small area. But a lot of people work here, live here, so like Hong Kong, Tokyo, so it's a way of a city, because the city is the commercial and international city. So people may more care about how in live to how to have a more comfortable environment for government and for the planning, for the designing, and for the investors. So let me relatively comfortable environment, not absolutely. You know, people usually live in open areas, green areas, in fortress. So I think it is a choice. Maybe work here. After your retirement, you will not choose this area. But it's the decision for different people.
What would you say to foreigners about coming to Shanghai and working?
I think the Shanghai city environment is relatively more comfortable. The scale, and the street, and the environment, and some Western buildings, and also Chinese buildings. There is a mixed environment and culture. It's fascinating. I think, and also a lot of opportunities for foreigners have job here, and very convenient traffic systems to international areas.
Well, I want to thank you for coming to see us. Shanghai is an amazing city, and thank you for coming to see us at the conference.